right, here you go.
Hi, my name is Chris Ortiz. I'm an instructor at Penn State University. I teach RPTM 236, which is Leadership and Group Dynamics in Recreation. Today we're going to be giving you an introduction to the game of disc golf. Starting with the history, looking at some of the equipment, and then getting into some of the basic rules so that you can begin playing the game yourself. The game started in the 60s and 70s. Steady Ed Hedrick had a patent for the Frisbee as well as the baskets that we use to this day. In the mid-70s, he also started the Professional Disc Golf Association. I'm going to show you a little bit of what we use in the discs from my disc golf bag. There are basically 3 or 4 different kinds of discs. You have your putters, your mid-range discs, and then your drivers, which can be classified into distance drivers as well as control drivers or fairway drivers. I'm going to start with the drivers. I'm going to just show you the difference in these 3 different discs. The drivers are designed to cut through the air, and if you look at the profile of this disc, it's got a very sharp edge, very different than the Frisbee that you might throw to your friends. Not something that would be designed to be caught in any way, but it slices through the air, can get some really great distance. The mid-range, if you were to look at that, the profile gets a little bit fatter on the edges, and you'll start to notice that it becomes a little bit of a deeper rim and a narrower rim compared to your drivers, which have a bit of a thicker rim. And then you get down to your putters. Putters are very blunted nose of the rim, deeper discs, flies a little bit straighter so you can have a little bit more control when you're putting in those shorter ranges and making sure the disc gets into the basket. The game of disc golf is played just like you would play ball golf. Each throw counts as a stroke, trying to make your way from the tee pad area to the hole. In the case of disc golf, the hole is represented by a basket with some chains and a basket that the disc has to land in to end the hole. The drivers, when they fly through the air, slice through the air, can go a little bit further. You might have a little bit less accuracy in exact location of landing. Mid-ranges, when you get to this disc, you're getting a little bit more control, designed for a bit of a shorter range throw to get you in position to put your putter then for your final throws into the basket. I'm going to show you a demonstration of some of the flights of these discs. We'll start with the putters and mid-ranges. You still might throw a putter from a bit of a distance trying to get to the basket. I have out here in the yard a basket down here, and then some flags that you'll see, which are about 33 feet, about 10 meters away from the basket, which marks off the green in disc golf, or the putting area where a throw is considered a putt. I'm about 100 or so feet, maybe a little bit more than that. I'm going to get my bag of discs out of the way, and I'm going to show you the flight of a few of these discs. We'll start with a mid-range. Something that you're going to notice when you throw these discs, when you see me throw these discs, is that they tend to have a bit of an S-turn to their flight. When they're coming out of your hand at a fast rate of speed, the disc is going to turn to the right. For me, as a right-handed backhand throw, as I throw that disc, it's going to be leaving my hand at a high rate of speed, rotating fast and turning to the right. And then as that rotation slows down, the disc will actually slow down and start to fade back to the left, landing in the left. It's more pronounced with your drivers. Typically, your mid-ranges maybe have a little bit, still can have that S-turn in their flight, but when you get down to the putters, they're a little bit more reliable and a more straight flight typically, because you want to be able to predict where they're going to go. You're going to see this a little bit as I throw a couple of throws here from about 100 feet down towards the basket, so you can see the flight of those discs. So here is a mid-range. You're going to see a little bit more with this mid-range, a little bit more of a pronounced fade at the end, where it's going to kind of fall out of the sky and fall left. When I get to my putters, you're going to see that they fly a little bit more straight and just land a little bit more naturally flat. So let me throw a couple of shots here so you can see. So here's a mid-range. You can start to see right there at the end, it started to fade a little bit to the left. When I throw this putter, you might not see that pronounced fade to the left. You can see how that shot kind of stayed flat. I'm going to show you a driver. I don't really have enough room in my yard here to throw a driver, so I'm going to go put the camera over by the road and throw one of my drivers down the road to see if you can see that flight. There's that turn to the right, and then it's going to come back and fade to the left, right to the road's edge. Let me show you the difference between that driver and then that flight of a putter, which is going to be a little bit more strict. You can see that one never really even left the path of the road. As we move down the fairway then, we get to our disc and where it landed, hopefully in the fairway. This disc then marks our new lie. We need to stand behind that disc when we're throwing our next throw. Again, just like on the tee pad though, if I am beyond 10 meters or 33 feet, my body's allowed to carry forward after the disc has left my hand, and I can step on the other side of my lie or the disc itself. But that's only when we are beyond the 33 or 10 meter lines here. I've marked off in this area these white flags, which are 33 feet from our basket, marking that 10 meter green. If I go into that space, I'm now putting, and the rules change a little bit. So if I were out here, I could throw like this, and you'll see that my feet stayed behind the plant area, but the disc left my hand even though I stepped through. Let's go to the putt. Okay, once we are inside this 10 meter circle, we're kind of on the green at this point, and we're now putting, and the rules change a little bit. Before, when I was throwing from either the fairway or the tee box, my plant foot landed and the disc left my hand, but I was allowed to step through. I was allowed to take another step beyond my disc at that point. Once we're on this putting green and we're putting, that's no longer the case. I have to stay behind my disc and in full balance until that disc has landed or ended up in the basket. So if I had my disc land here, I could take my stance here behind the disc. I could look at the basket. I can make my throw. Hopefully it lands in the basket, finishing out the hole for myself. Now, I've been playing disc golf for a long time. When I started the game, all I really had was a putter, and then I got a mid-range and a driver eventually. You can go out to the store and buy yourself a starter pack, which has a putter, a mid-range, and a driver that are easy to use for a beginner. I might argue that really in the beginning, all you really do need is a putter. Something that you feel like you can control and throw with some accuracy and feel very comfortable in the hand. These putters typically feel the most like your standard Frisbee, which you could also play with if you wanted to. And then as I've gotten into the game, I've been playing for over 10 years. I've started to grow a bit of a bag and a collection, lots of putters. I've gotten to the point where I'm not only buying discs to use, but collecting them. These are the same disc, just different colors and designs. So there's that. But I also have discs that will do different things based on their flight characteristics. I have my putters that I really enjoy. This is a disc called the Pure. I have it in lots of different plastics because they fly a little bit different. I also have some discs that are designed to fade harder at the end of flight. Some that will turn more to the right as I throw them at that higher speed and maybe fade a little bit less. And then I've got a variety of drivers as well. Again, more of that, some of them that fade a little bit harder, some of them that turn and glide far to the right. But you can really get into this game. Again, I've been playing for a long time. I'd encourage you to check it out. I really love this game because it gets you outside, walking around. Sometimes when I play 18 holes of disc golf, I'm walking over 3 miles. There's lots of friendship and camaraderie. Every time you meet somebody on the disc golf course, they're typically really friendly and willing to share some advice and share a game with you. And then there's that level of competition that you can keep playing, and it's multi-generational. So I hope I've inspired you to think a little bit about the game of disc golf, and maybe it's something that you'll want to go try. Go out and get yourself a putter, maybe a starter pack with the mid-range and the driver. Get out there and find some place to go. You don't even need a true disc golf course. If you find some open fields, you can throw at objects. Some of the early disc golf courses were just object courses. Instead of trying to put it into the basket, you're just trying to hit an object. So hopefully you're intrigued by the game, and I've given you enough information where you can get out there and go throw. So thanks a lot for watching. Here's my mid-range. Shank. Now this is a distance driver. Landed in my neighbor's tree, and then that putter. Just seems to want to go to my neighbor's house.